objects for a single class. That's it. So this is what all we have seen in the previous class. Then we have seen the difference between a class and an object. So I hope you don't have any doubts up to here. Yes. So in today's class, we will see various types of data members. So data members are the members which are going to store some data. Those are all we call it as variables. We'll call it as variables, meaning that we are trying to learn in this session what are the various types of variables are there in Java. Okay, so in C language also we'll have same kind of variables. In Java also we'll have the same kind of variables. Generally, there are three types of variables are there. One is local variable, another is instance variable, another is static variable. Static variable. Okay, so coming to the definitions, I hope you already know what they mean by local variable. Okay, if a variable range is local to that, local to that method, local to that method, we can call it as a local variable. Means that if we are going to define a variable inside the method, we can call it as a local variable. Inside the method we'll call it as local variable. Means how you are going to write method, you know, void some method name, and whatever the data that you are writing here, in this data one of the variable is int a, then we can call this as a local variable. Okay, now fine. If a variable is declared inside the class, first I'm going to define the definition, then we'll go for example. Inside the class and outside the method, and outside the method without static keyword, without static keyword, then we can call it as instance variables. If a variable has to declare inside the class but outside the method, and it should not have prefix with a keyword, static keyword, then we can call it as instance variable. Similarly, if you go for definition of a static variable, these are the variables which are defined inside the class and outside the method and prefix with the keyword static keyword. Prefix with the keyword static keyword. Inside the class and outside the method with usage of static keyword. With is a static keyword. Okay, let me write the complete code here. With, for example, I'm writing, for example, student. For example, information about the student. Class, student, S is capital. For example, I want to maintain student marks, or I want to maintain student registered number, int registered number. Then I'm writing something like static string college equal to IT. Yes. Then I'm going to write some method like void void what we can call some data addition of something addition, and I'm writing some variable like f. Don't think about what is f, all those, just make it as one variable f. Then I'm performing some kind of operation. My class is completed. My class is complete. Okay, now fine. So what do you mean by local variable? The variable which is declared inside the method. Inside the method. What is method? This is a method. This inside method contains whatever the variables are there. Those are all call it as local variables. Local variables. And this one and this one. What is this variable? It is a variable which is declared inside the class but outside the method, as well as it is not prefixed with the keyword static. Then we can call it as instance variable. Instance variable. And coming to this one, what is static variable? The variable which is declared inside the class, outside the method, but prefixed with the keyword static keyword. Then we can call it as static variable. Static variable. Okay, fine. So here my question is, once I define a variable inside the function, can I able to access that variable outside the class? No, I can't able to access the variable which is declared inside the method. Inside the method, you cannot able to access directly. You cannot access directly. You cannot access. That's it. So because of you are unable to access this particular variable, every local variable must and should be declared. Every local variable must and should be declared. Sorry, declared kadamma. Every local variable must and should be initialized. Means we cannot take input from the outside. Objects which input తీసుకోలేమమ్మా. So that is the reason local variable must and should be initialized. Okay, fine. So for this class, I am going to create an object. How we are going to create an object? Can you write on your own? Yes. Class name, some object reference. By using a new keyword, I am able to create memory. New followed by student class. So this is a kind of reference object. It's a kind of reference object, right? Once I create an object, memory space will be created for whom? Memory space will be created for data members as well as the required methods. But try to think here, data members means only considered as instance data members. Only instant data members. Okay, let me explain why. See, the variables which are declared inside the method, memory is going to create whenever particular method is called. Then only its corresponding memory will be created. I hope you understand, right? Means whenever I am writing, like how we are going to access with respect to dot operator. S dot addition. S dot addition is a method. When I call this function, then only the memory space is created for the variables which are defined inside the method. But whenever an object is created, no memory space is created for the local variable. These are the very, very important points. There is no memory space is created for the local variables of the method once I define an object. But whenever you call an method, then the local variables of that method is local variables memory is going to create. So whenever I have written like this, then only the memory space is created for this. Along with respect to some value, let me take 2. So 2 will be copied. 2 will be copied. Okay, fine. So when this memory space is going to destroy, when this memory space is going to destroy, whenever whenever this function exists in the program, this function exists in the program, automatically our garbage collector will invoke and destroy the created memory, and destroy the created memory. Okay, na? I hope you are understanding. So here we have discussed two important points. When memory is going to create, whenever a method called with respect to an object, then only memory will be created. And also all the local variables must be initialized, and these local variables cannot access cannot access outside the method, cannot access outside the method. That is what we have seen. Okay, fine. This is all about local variables. Coming to next one, instance data members. Instant data member. These are the data members which are going to define inside the class and outside the method. We will call it as instant data members. So for this also we need to define when memory is going to create. Memory is going to create. So for the data members whose memory space is going to create for memory space is created when an object is created. When an object is created. But for local variables, when a method is called. But here for instant data members, when an object is called, memory space is created. How we are going to create an object? Student s equal to new student. Then only its corresponding memory location will be created, like register number. Register number. So here, whatever the data members that you are writing, whatever the data members that you are calling as instant data members, those who can access to some other class also, okay now. So we no need to define. So local, so instant, next point ఏంటమ్మా, లోకల్ వేరియబుల్స్ ఖచ్చితంగా ఇన్సులేట్ చేయాలి. ఇన్స్టాంట్ డేటా మెంబర్స్ ఇన్సులేట్ చేయాలా? ఇన్స్టాంట్ డేటా మెంబర్స్ మే బి ఇన్సులైజ్డ్ ఆర్ may not be initialized. Can we access instant data members outside the class? Yes, we can access outside the class. We can access outside the class. That's it. Okay. Now, what about static data members? So when memory is going to create, see guys, can anybody make a difference? Can you make difference between what is local variable and what is static variable in C language? C language లో local variable ki static variable difference అని చెప్తారా? No. No is okay, fine. For some thing, right? What is the difference between local variable and static variable? Static variables only one time initialized. Local variables we can initialize multiple times. No, Ganesh. Local variables one time initialize చేస్తాం అనుకుంటా. When you I am saying with respect to a program, right? నువ్వు ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఓపెన్ చేసినప్పుడు ప్రోగ్రామ్ లో ఎన్నిసార్లు స్టాటిక్ వేరియబుల్ కూడా ఎన్నిసార్లు కాదు అన్నిసార్లు మార్పు చేసుకోవచ్చు. I mean, whatever the way you are convinced may not correct, but you know the concept, I hope. Yes. So let me explain the difference. Someone Durga Sai. Local variables belongs to certain limits of in between the limits. Static variables which can change the value once initialized. Okay, fine. Very good. So static data members. See, instance variable. See, the main difference is memory creation. Memory space for a data member. Main difference is memory space, right? So whenever an object is created, memory space will be created for each and every object. For each and every object. Memory space ప్రతి ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఎన్ని ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ అయితే క్రియేట్ చేస్తామో అన్ని ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ చేయొచ్చు. I mean, see, in the last class what I said, how many times I can able to create an object? I can create multiple objects. See, when multiple objects are created, multiple memory spaces are created. But coming to static data member, memory space will be created only once. At what time? While loading the class file in main memory. Irrespective of number of times an object is created. See guys, I'm simply making one thing. Class A, int A, and for example, static int B. Let us assume. Okay, fine, right? So this is a local, this is a instance data member. This is a static data member, right? I am going to create an object with respect to this. With respect to A, some like J equal to object name is object reference is J equal to new A. What will happen? For this class, memory space is created. At what time? For each and every object. So J is an object, right? So means J is some reference. First, it is going to execute in the right side part. What is new A? Object is created for this one. Object means some memory space is created. For what variables it is going to create? For the instance data members, memory space is created. That memory space reference is going to copy into, means once it is having this address 100, it can able to point to this location. Then with respect to this one, I can able to call A, J dot A. I can able to call with respect to A, with respect to object J dot A. Okay, now fine. What about the static data member? What I am saying, it won't create memory at the time of object creation, but while loading the class from primary memory to secondary memory, from secondary memory to main memory or primary memory, the primary secondary memory to primary memory, then only object will be created, right? Means my memory will be created like this, something like this. That's it. So I hope you understood. Now I am going to create once again an object A class, some k equal to new A function. Now once I create an object, again One more memory space is created for the instant data members of the class A. K is an reference object. Something like it contains 200. It contains 200. Whatever this memory location B, it won't create. It will create only for one time. Create only for one time. Now, for example, once again, I'm going to write like A L equal to new A. Then once again, for the new A object, it is going to create some address 300, some instance variable A, then L 300, then it will be connected. But what about this B? If you observe B, B created for only one time. That is the meaning of this one. Okay. Sir, what is the use of? So when we go for instant data members and when we go for static data member, can anybody answer? When we go for static data member and when we go for instant data member. Nobody from two sections. You have completed two programming languages, C and C++. Right now also you are not defining means. Static meant for constants. Is it correct, Naveen? Definitely correct or somewhat correct? Static for counting. Let me give some example so that Ganesh, you can understand that this is not only for counting but also for some other reason. Static data member, when we don't want to change the previous values of variable up to end of the program, then we'll go for a static variable. Very good work, sir. Okay. Let me explain. See, here I have created an object. Here I have created an object A, J, object K, object L. Means, for example, let me say this object belongs to apple. This object belongs to Goa. This object belongs to mango. This object belongs to mango. But for all this, this B, assume that this B I am calling it as mm, type. Type means it's a fruit or general form. Type means something like fruit. Okay, instead of saying like this, I will go for defining one more simple example so that you will get clarity. In your point, I will define. Don't get confused. See, I am writing, for example, somebody is asking for to create a class for to collect the data for the student. Then what I am going to write? I am going to create some Java class student. Then I will take a register number. Then I will take his or her name. Then I will take college name also. Will take college name also. Now, what will happen here? You are all belongs to IIIT Srikakulam students. You are all belongs to IIIT Srikakulam, right? If I want to perform some kind of operation here, what I need to do? I need to create an object. Right, understood? I need to create an object. So student s equal to new student. Student s equal to new student means this is for student one. Then what it is going to do? It is going to create memory space for what? Register number, name, and college. and it's having some reference S1 with address 100, so it will be copied to this one. Means S1 student roll number can be accessed with respect to S1 dot roll number. S1 student name can be accessed with respect to S1 dot name. S1 యొక్క కాలేజ్ ఏమంటమా S1 dot college. S1 dot college. Now once again there is a student S2. S2 equal to new student S2. Similarly, what will happen? R memory created, N memory created, C memory created, S2 reference will be created, some address 200, 200 will be copied. Now similarly, student S3, new student S3. Then what will happen once again? R memory, N memory, college memory, and S3 300 will be copied like this. So and so on. This process will continue for each and every object. Means whenever you create an object, automatic memory space will be created for all these instance variables. These are all instance, right? Because these are all outside the method and which are not prefixed with a static keyword. If you observe here one thing, whatever the inputs that are given by students, all those inputs are from what is the register number varying from student to student. So register number is 1, name is some A, college name is what? IIIT Srikakulam. Some other student roll number is 2, student name is B, college name is IIIT. Some other student number 3, college name is student name is 3 and college name is IIIT. Some number 4, D, IIIT. Like this, students will give inputs. If you observe here, what are some common points? Common points is S1. Common points is S1. Means this is common for every student. This is common for every student. So if this is common for every student, why we need to create memory for? Why we need to create to store IIIT's memory, IIIT's college name and allocating memory space for every time? Instead of allocating the memory space like this, why can't you go for creating a memory space only one time, and access wherever you require, to solve this question, we'll go for placing a keyword called static. Once I place a static here, what will happen? Student S1 equal to new student, then memory space will be created for what? Only roll number and name. Student S2 equal to new student, only roll number and name. Student S3 equal to new student, only roll number and name, but not for college, because for college memory space will be created at what time? Memory space will be created while loading dot class file. While loading dot class file from secondary memory to primary memory loaded up create. So memory space will be created. Now what will happen? I am going to access this data. This data I am going to access with respect to what? I am going to access that register number or name. I can access with respect to object reference. For example, student 1 access 100 dot or 100 and S1 dot or S1 dot N. But if I want to access the name of the college, is memory is created within this S1? No. If it is not created within this S1, then how can you write like S1 dot college? If you write S1 dot college, what will happen? It will go to the memory location 100 and it will check for college. There is no college, then it will get a compile time error. What is that error? Variable not exist. Okay, now fine. So here, instead of saying that I am saying that it is a compile time error, it will show a warning message. But right now, whatever the what I can say. So present on the compiles anni kuda warning message maatrame istayi. Compile time errors sevu. Ante warning message means it will execute successfully, but it will just show that you are writing the program in the incorrect way. You are writing the program incorrect way, because S1 dot college is the memory. College variable memory is not created here. Even though you are writing, it will show only warning message because the program can understood, because college variable is memory space is created outside. So this entire thing is created where once again in the student class. So if you want to access the college variable, what is college variable? Static variable. Then you are going to access with respect to what is the reference? With respect to class name. So how we are going to access static classes? Static variables, class name dot college. So you can easily understood that what are these? These are all constants whose values are not changed. Whose values are not changed. Instead of saying like this, I can say in another way. Whose values are common to all. Whose values are common to all. Then I can say that I can go for static given. Means in another way I can say whose value is shareable to all. Whose value is shareable to all. Then I can go for static variable. Means here IIITS exists. This IIITS is shareable to all or not? Shareable to S1, shareable to S2, shareable to S3. So if it is common to all, or if it is shareable, if the value is not changed, all will comes under prefix with a static keyword. But what about these values? All the instant variable values are changing from S1 to S2. Means ఇక్కడ చూసారు కదా S1 1A 2B 3C 4D అలా పర్సన్ టు పర్సన్ చేంజ్ అయిపోతూ ఉంటుంది. సో అర్థమైంది అనుకుంటాను మీకు. ఎస్, దిస్ ఈస్ వాట్ ఆల్ ద డిఫరెన్స్ బిట్వీన్ static variables and instant variables. So I hope you understood clearly here. Okay. If I conclude all this in a single difference, the differences between instance data members and static data members. Guys, once you are defining or once you are writing some statement, means you need to understood clearly. Without understanding, writing that in the exam paper or wherever, there is no use. So applying the concept is important wherever required. So for instant data members, memory space is going to create where? For instant data members, memory space will be created for each and every object. For each and every time object created. Object ఎప్పుడైతే క్రియేట్ చేస్తారో కూడా మెమరీ క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది. బట్ వాట్ అబౌట్ స్టాటిక్ మెంబర్స్? Memory space will be created for the static members when? Can anybody answer? Yes, Masai. Ganesh, very good. And when an object is created, again mistake. It's not an object is created, ma. When dot class file is loaded from secondary memory to primary memory. I clearly explained. And instant data members is for what? Instant data members is for specific values. I mean specific to student 1 to student 2, specific, right? Student 1 1, student 2 2, student 3 3, student 4 4. Specific to this student S1, specific this to student S2, specific this to student S3. So for specific values, we'll go for instant data members. For common values, so static data members are used for storing common values will go for static data members. So, and what is the syntax? We are going to write for inside data members. We are going to write like data type followed by variable 1, variable 2, and so on something. What about here? You must and should prefix with static keyword. Static data type v1, v2, v3, and so on. Means here inside data members are not prefixed with static keyword. What about here? Prefixed with static. How we are going to access instant data members? You are going to access instant data members with respect to object name. Means each and every instant data member accessed with respect to an object name. Object name means simply object reference dot that property name. That property name. What about static? Static chaptarama. Each and every static data member. Each and every static data member accessed with respect to what? Can anybody answer? Yes, Prasanna. Very good, ma. Devaki, correct answer. Access with respect to class name means general syntax is a class name dot static data member. Sir, you will have a question. You will have a question. Sir, can I access that object with respect to object or not? Yes, we can able to access, but we'll get a warning message. Get a warning message. But the industry is recommended to access a static data member with respect to class name only. Okay, now. So these instant data members are specific values means these are all shareable. No, these are all not shareable. What about the static data members? These are all shareable. These are all shareable. So how we are going to access these are all we are going to access these instant data members with respect to an object. So because of accessing these instant data members with respect to an object, we are calling it as instant data members, also called as object level data members. Instant data members are also called as object level data members. Why we are calling it as object level data members? Because we are accessing an instant data member with respect to an object. And you know, right, for the same thing, the reference is here we can call it as class level data members. Why we are calling it as class level data members? Because we are accessing a static data member with respect to a class name. Respect to a class name. That's it. So these are all various difference between instant data member and a static data member. Okay, ma'am. Sir, can we initialize instant variable and static variable? Yes. If you want to initialize, I mean, you may initialize or may not initialize. There is no problem. But local variable must be initialized. Local variable must be initialized. This is what all about today's class. Any doubts? You can ask me.